I'm going to talk about small enterprise research, which is the journal of SEAANZ. And we're just going to give you an overview of what the journal is about, how it's performing, and maybe conclude with some call for actions. So I'll kick off by introducing what the journal, how it's run. So we've got an editor-in-chief, Dr. Breda from Ireland, Munster Technological University. I'm a deputy editor from Massey University in New Zealand, and Dr. Stephanie Macht from CQ University in Australia. So I think it's a great regional spread. We definitely, Europe is one of the key partners in our research journey, and of course the journal has an Australasian focus, so Australia and New Zealand are represented on the editorial board as well, which I think is a good thing. Obviously we focus on small business, and we have 4 pillars. We are really keen on emphasizing the final pillar, so the practitioner side. We have been very good over the years in bringing academic research to the attention of the public. We're looking more at education as well. Case studies are very much another key aspect that we would like to bring to the fore going forward. And of course, all of our work has policy implications, so that continues to be an important pillar of what SER does. Every issue has at least 5, but sometimes 6 academic papers, but we do showcase a practitioner think piece or perspective, or a policy related piece. And then of course we are trying to showcase as well case studies to bring to make it more real, to make it more applied in the world today. As I said, it's a journal that has content from all over the world, so it's a global content, but we do have a dedicated kind of focus to Oceania, because that's our roots, that's where we came from. The journal is published at the moment 3 times a year, and the latest issue came out in November. So this is the latest issue, and you can see there's a range of articles. This is not the whole lot, but just a sampling of what is available. So you can see we have a range of a mix of topics like HR, innovation, COVID, of course, is already in our journal, longitudinal studies, and digital literacy skills. So very topical, where we try to stay on top of what is happening, and it looks like we attract people who are interested in these areas as well. In terms of our global reach, the biggest region, I guess, that is North America, who have accessed the journal. This is followed by Europe and Asia, and then of course Australasia. But we have got people interested from all the way from Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East. The articles downloaded, we are seeing quite a lot of interest in the journal. In the year to date, the percentage of downloads has increased by 62% compared to last year. So this is a very good development. I think it shows how we're trying to make the journal more relevant, and I think that this is a testament to this is the case. By far, the country that downloads the most articles remains the UK, followed by Australia and the US. And as you can see in the pie, Europe is the biggest, has a lion's share of downloads, followed by Asia and Australasia. When it comes to downloading articles, it's quite interesting because you can see that actually the range is pretty much worldwide. We have interest from Sri Lanka. These are articles downloaded in the last 12 months. From Sri Lanka, we've got interest from SMEs in Africa. Of course, e-commerce is very much of interest, and that's been one of the most downloaded articles as well. And another important aspect about this journal is that it has also been part of it takes risks, so it's published things that may be difficult to publish elsewhere on things like Indigenous entrepreneurship or the historical development of SMEs. So I think that those are exciting developments too. The most downloaded article was the Sri Lankan apparel venture article. It's also the most cited is about risk management practices, and there is also altmetric attention in terms of a study from Nigeria. So this is quite important as well. Sorry, in terms of citation, we have quite good citation metrics. As you can see from here, I don't think I need to go through them, but basically you're getting the idea that it is quite a global reach and a very range of topics. People that, or the journals that, publications that cite small enterprise research are from a range of journals. I think it's quite interesting. There are other journals that are very much in global, reach. So things like Journal of Business Research, Journal of Social Entrepreneurship, Journal of African Business, Journal of Small Business and Enterprise Development. We are making traction in the conversation, in the academic conversation. The range of countries where we're cited is very broad. I think this is quite exciting that we are attracting attention all the way from Uganda to India to China, and of course the more traditional places like the UK. So I think I'll hand over to Stephanie.
Yes, thank you. So I'll just be talking about a few other metrics that might be of interest. And I think you probably see sort of the trend going the same way as what Tanya was talking about with all these other metrics as well. So if we look at the first one, this is about the submissions. And you can see, again, it's actually a positive trend. We're getting more and more submissions in the journal. I mean, obviously, if you even just look at the submitted year to date from 2020 to 21, there's quite a nice increase there. So we're becoming more and more popular across the board. If we look at the geography of submissions, you can see that actually this year Australia has been overtaken by India in terms of the submissions, but it's still pretty up there. Probably interesting to mention the Nigeria and Ghana submissions, why they were so high in 2020. It's probably because of the special issue on African entrepreneurship that the journal ran that year. If we're looking at the average speed of article publication, again, I think this is a generally positive trend because we are getting faster at publishing the articles. And I guess we all like that if we submit it ourselves and we get answers faster and we get published faster, that usually makes the academic happy, I think. So we're getting in the right direction and speeding this process up as well. And yeah, this slide just shows the same thing again in terms of the time from submission to the first decision. Most of the papers are sitting within the sort of 1 month time frame. So again, we're trying to be speedy. We're trying to also give a good service to the authors of our papers to make the decisions quickly. And in terms of then the decisions themselves, again, I think this paints a positive picture. Obviously, we've had more submissions, but we're also, I think, becoming a little bit more selective in what we're publishing. So I think the journal is increasing its quality in terms of what we're putting into the final publications, which again, I think is a really positive story to tell. And the final positive stories then are about the views that the authors have in terms of the journal. And so you can see here that generally there is very high satisfaction from the authors. There are very few, actually there's none who said they were dissatisfied in any shape or form with the process. And on the next slide as well, the satisfaction with the refereeing process. Sure, there were a couple that were sort of in the mid-range, but actually overall people are really, really satisfied with the refereeing process in our journal. And I think with that, I might be handing to Breda to talk about what's going to come next.
Okay, thank you very much, Steffi, and thank you, Tanya, for leading in nicely, and delighted to be here. Good morning from Ireland, and also delighted to see some familiar faces on the screen. I'm going to finish off and then we'll have some time for questions and answers. The current and future issues, we have, as Tanya mentioned, a screenshot of our current issue. But coming out next year, we have some really exciting papers and special issues coming, and I've had a sneak preview of the first one, which looks at the small firms and the silver economy, and it really answers the question: what are the opportunities posed by an aging population in general, and how can SMEs respond to that trend? Then we have a special issue on resilient growth and international entrepreneurship, which is linked to the Rent conference with ECSB, and I see Silke on screen, which is delighted to see her, and I'll talk about that in a second, as well as a general issue. Then in 2023, and I've put up here an opportunity for special issues, there's a real opportunity here to look at other special issues, and it was mentioned that we want to stay relevant, and I note Professor Layton mentioned the growth in creative entrepreneurship and creative entrepreneurs. So I'm just thinking that could be a really nice special issue. Again, keeping it relevant, keeping it on trend, if to use that phrase, around research and issues that are of concern to small business. Next slide, thank you. What we've done, and thanks to Tanya has collated a series of articles, I suppose in line with the theme of this symposium, and these articles are now freely available until the end of the year for participants of today. And it's again a very global, eclectic mix of entrepreneurship, small business topics from I'm just seeing here from Australia, from Norway, and Sri Lanka. So there's a really nice selection of articles there. So do have a look at the Small Enterprise Research website. These are freely available. I just checked them this morning just to make sure that we can access them. So they are available for everybody to use between now and the end of the year. Okay, might move on. Thank you. Just a few slides before we finish. In terms of developing the journal further, we've seen how the journal has increased and is developing in terms of submissions, in terms of quality, and also its global reach. And I suppose where we want to develop it further, we don't want to stop there. We want to move the journal. And again, I suppose make the point, this is your journal. This is the journal of SEAANZ. So there's an opportunity to get involved. The editorial team is hugely important. The editorial board, the panel of reviewers, and as you've got a chance to meet the three of us in the new year, Tanya will be taking over as editor-in-chief, and we're always looking to build out that team, to have a broad range, diverse range of expertise and geographic reach as well, which has really served us well to date. As mentioned, we'd like to look at the special issues, so looking at the roles and responsibilities for guest editors to making it easier and clearer if you sign up, if you decide to put forward a proposal for a guest special issue, what's involved for you, and how can we as editors support that, but also how can we work with the publisher to support that. Promoting quality, as Stefan mentioned, quality, and again working with the publishers in terms of editing facilities, plagiarism, making sure that we put out the best possible quality of papers and research. And in turn with that, or it was in tandem with that, is to review and monitor rankings. We want to move in terms of the rankings, the citations. We have an application in terms of Scopus. We will hear about that in early 2022. So we're looking forward to more good news in relation to the journal around our Scopus submission. Review submissions by geographic area. You've got a sense of our global reach, but also to keep that global reach, but also maybe develop other areas that are not represented by some of those pie charts and the graphs that you've seen here today. And to promote journal through ECSB, we mentioned ECSB, the RENT conference, that special issue on resilient growth and international entrepreneurship, that's linked to a track in the RENT conference next week. So we're really looking forward to a high quality journal, load of submissions around that, and there's been a lot of interest in that. So there's an opportunity there to link with other conferences. This, as I said, that's in Europe, but there's other opportunities in other geographic areas that we can look at. Okay. The strategic, I suppose, at an operational level, and then at a strategic level, we'll continue to publish on time. As noted, we've an increase in submissions. We'd like to move to maybe 4 issues a year. We've 3 at the moment, but we see scope to expand that. Improving metrics, as I mentioned, but also to work with you, the SEAANZ board and SEAANZ members, around improving those metrics, special issues that I mentioned, and we're available to talk about that offline and following the symposium today. But to build the brand, as we mentioned, this is your journal. This is the Small Enterprise Research Journal of SEAANZ, and it's to keep that brand synonymous with SEAANZ and with the work and the focus on small enterprise. Build a case study and policy practitioner. It's an area we'd really like to expand and develop for the journal, and it's certainly an area that we can build on from conversations today. And lastly, call to action. How can you get involved? And there's a few different ways that you can get involved. If you're a researcher, you can cite, write, review, or edit. The first thing that you can do as a researcher is to go check out those free access journals or free access articles that we've mentioned. Use the research, cite the research, write an article, submit an article in terms of, and there's plenty of food for thought and plenty of scope from the topics that were covered today. Review. It was mentioned that we've an increase in submissions, but that puts pressure on the review process as well. We need good reviewers, so we're always very, very grateful and looking for reviewers. But also in terms of getting involved in the panel of reviewers or the editorial board, always open to new ideas, new perspectives, and new people involved there. If you're an educator, you can case studies, plenty of case material there that you can actually work on and use in terms of your own teaching, your own research, and keeping it relevant. And as I said, if you're in international entrepreneurship, what an array of content that's available there in terms of the international scope and reach of the journal. And also guest editors I've mentioned, and promoting the journal through your own networks. And again, we're always there to help with that. And behind us are the publishers as well, who are always and consistently helping to promote the journal. So thank you very much, and we'll open it up now to questions and answers.